All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the NBK NBA Report. I am your host, John. I am here today with my partner here and co-host, G Fresh. As you see, how you doing today, G Fresh?
Man, I'm good, man. Good, man. I'm blessed to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Night, man.
Nice. Well, just want to give a quick shout out to my guy, Ron, my brother from another mother, who usually joins us. And he is actually the main host of this show. I'm sort of his co-host, but today he got some things going on and I'm taking the helm today. So hopefully I do him justice today.
Word. Shout out to Ron. Shout out to the homie.
Right. So with that said, let's get right into it. So I'm going to sort of give a quick breakdown about what's going on in the Eastern Conference right now, and then we'll talk a little bit about the West. So as we know, the Chicago Bulls are currently on the top of the Eastern Conference at 27-15, which is they're kind of holding true, and the Orlando Magic have taken over to the bottom spot and haven't lost that. They're still sort of bottom dwellers. So that's sort of where we at in the Eastern Conference. Nothing has changed as of late. And, in our Western division, Phoenix Suns are still leading the pack there, and they're 34-9. They've won 4 in a row, led by Devin Booker at 23 points per game, DeAndre Ayton 16 points per game, Chris Paul 14 points per game. So that's sort of where we're at today. Our Knicks, however, have moved up. Well, actually, they haven't moved up. They lost yesterday. So we are sitting tight at 11th position with a 22-23 record. They have lost 2 in a row. Yeah, what do you feel about that, man? I mean, you look at what's happening within this Eastern Division. Are you surprised that Chicago's still on top of the leaderboard?
No, I'm not really surprised. I mean, you gotta tip your hat off to the front office, man. They lucked out in just picking that team just from even making that trade with Vucevic last year. So that really catapult them to set up them for this year. And pulling the trigger for Ball and getting Caruso and DeRozan. I mean, they made the right moves.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And they're playing well. They're playing well as a unit. I know Levine had recently went down. So got to check his status on when he's on his way back. In just a few seconds, let me see if he's back. I think he may have tweaked it, and he may have missed his last game. Let's see if I got that here. Should have put up Zach Levine's injury report. Let me see. Yeah, man. I mean, if we walk down the Eastern Conference, man, we have like teams that are sort of surprising to see in a way, in a sense, not necessarily who you might expect, but you have Miami follows them, with a record of 28-16, and then they are followed by the Brooklyn Nets at 27-16, and then a surprise team with the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are currently, sitting in 4th place with a record of 27-18, and they're only a game and a half back of the leaderboard. So, How do you feel about the transition? We'll talk about Miami in just a bit, but what do you think about Cleveland and sort of how they've come out of nowhere and have surprised a lot of fans?
I mean, they have a nice nucleus of vets, young players, and it's paying off. And it's clearly the bigger staff. He's coaching those guys up. I mean, they have the third best defense in the league.
Hmm.
So when you got a third best defense in the league, you're gonna win games.
Right.
And they still could score the ball. I mean, they have 7 guys on that roster that average over double digits. So when you got 7 guys that are contributing, you got Garland, who's leading that team without Sexton, right? And
Right.
he's
That's
averaging almost
huge.
20 and 8. You're gonna win
It's
games.
huge. That
You're
is
gonna
huge.
your point guard's averaging 20 and 8. You're top 3, defense, and you got 7 guys averaging at least 10 points a game. You're gonna win some games.
Right. So yeah, I mean that they're sort of a surprise team, and and it's interesting that you're sort of talking about the Garland's play as of late, because l- he happens to be our Bismarck Key Player of the Week.
Yeah,
So let's put up his highlights, man. Let's go check
yeah.
that out.
Now,
Run that back.
running back, baby.
Yikes.
Man, that young fellow was dropping some dimes, man. I mean,
Okay.
Drag, they was basically saying he was going to be like a poor man's Chris Paul. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Listen, Cleveland got them someone right there. You know what I mean? And you are, if you are a part of Knicks Nation, you understand the sort of craziness that's going on Twitter. Folks, sort of piggying back around his play as of late, and sort of wishing that they would have done that, picked him over Barrett. I don't know. I think it's super early to tell.
it's-
What do you think about that? Like how Knicks fans sort of are up in arms.
I mean, guys have good years, guys have bad years. Um, and that's just the way it is. When you look at Barry could do a lot of things that Garland can't do. Garland can't defend. And he's also a streaky shooter. I mean, he could shoot the ball when he gets hot, but RJ's kind of the same way. So, it's just how you want to build your team. And I guess the way Cleveland is built, they're built to run.
Right.
No, we're not built to run. So if you had Garland with us, Randall's not gonna want to run up down the court. We don't have guys that want to play that style, nor Tibbs really want to play that style. So you can't sit here and kind of play shoulda, coulda, woulda, and so we should have got Garland.
Right.
And then with the injury problems, he was hurt even his first year. So Knicks fans would have got frustrated with that. Oh, Garland's always hurt.
Yeah, when as we've grown, as I've grown older, I've realized that a lot of fanfare is sort of all over the place, and it's not really consistent. It's almost like they just want to chase the name, the best new piece. And that's, they look at these highlights and they're just like everything, especially when a guy got it going, right? they start to look like, oh, when was that person drafted? And if they're anywhere close to where the Knicks were
Yeah.
drafting, automatically it's like we made a
Oh,
mistake and this person's a
it's like,
bust.
oh, like
Yeah,
remember that Cleveland team got guys that defend and run, and
yeah,
that's his style. We don't have a whole bunch of defenders,
right,
so with him, we be beating him down because he don't defend anybody. That's not his role. He's not asked to defend.
right.
So we will be killing him right now, saying, "Oh, the guy gets 7, 8 assists a game, but he's getting killed in pick and roll every night."
Yeah.
So
Well, they're gonna have a conundrum because once Sexton gets back, you know what I mean, and they're gonna have to make a decision because they're playing so well, and you could tell that Garland playing off the ball is not the same Garland when he has the ball in his hands, right? Garland plays a
yeah,
little bit more efficiently when
mhm,
he is the point guard and being that facilitator slash scorer. He's really in his comfort zone right now, and
yeah,
Sexton will take, that's just gonna, not be a good fit. So we'll see how that turns out for that team.
yeah.
But
We'll see. You
they're
can't have 2 6'1" guards, and that's why last year they were, I think, like 28th in defense, I
right,
believe. So it's like pick your poison. So I think going into next year, you're gonna really see, what direction the Cavs are gonna go in.
right. It's true. It's true. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna break down. Let's go let's start with the Atlantic Division. Now that we sort of talked about the Bulls and
Mhm.
Cleveland, who are on top of the Central Division. And by the way, I just took a look. Zach LaVine, there's no update on his status as far as
Okay.
his injury is concerned. So they may be without him for a little bit of time until he
Okay.
starts to heal up. But again, they are. They lost their last four. So
Yes.
that's interesting. So they're sort of
Walk away.
trending downwards, as Cleveland is trending upwards with 5 straight wins. So that's interesting. So who's to say in a matter of a week or two that Central Division may shift a bit, and we'll see someone else on top of the leaderboard, which is also interesting because everybody's like a game and a half away. They're either tied or a half game, right up on the leaderboard. So going into the Atlantic Division, G Fresh, the Brooklyn Nets, right? They still on top of the Atlantic Division, and they're trailed by the Philadelphia 76ers. Both of them are coming off of losses, but they have been playing, especially the 76ers. 76ers have been, winning basketball games. They change changed sort of the trajectory that they were in earlier in the season. And Brooklyn is pretty consistent. They've been, they'll lose 2, win 2, sort of, or win 4 in a row. What do you think about those teams and how they compare to the rest of the Atlantic Division?
Well, I think getting Kyrie definitely helps Brooklyn. Um, I think one thing that they're actually a great road team. They're 15 and
Right.
5 on the road. So they're gonna be scary in the playoffs because Kyrie is gonna be mainly playing road games.
Right.
So that's just something just to kind of look at. And when I look at Philly, I think Philly, even though they're projecting up, I think this is pretty much their ceiling, in my opinion. I mean, until they really figure out what they're going to do with Ben Simmons, I think, they're figured it out. Because I mean, right now, I mean, they're 12th in defense. With
Mhm.
Ben, they were second in defense. Their pace is really slow. I think it was like 26,
Right.
um, 26 right now, where last year was 11. So I think the front office have to really make a decision what they want to do if they really want to make a playoff push, a strong playoff push. Because I could just see them going to the first round and getting bounced. Because
Right.
at the Embiid, yeah, you still got Harris. Yes, you still got Max, who's playing really good, averaging 16 a game. Steph Curry averaging 16 a game. You still looking for that third piece. Because I don't trust Harris in the playoffs.
Right.
He gets
Tobias.
one game and then he disappears. So you still
Right.
need that guy. So if I'm Philly, I'm still looking on who I want to trade, and I was just kind of seeing who they want to trade for. But the issue is they were trying to get De'Aaron, but Kings is not looking to trade for Ben Simmons. They looking at Jaylen Brown for Boston.
Oh,
I don't
interesting.
know how that would work. They're looking at Russell. I don't think LeBron's gonna let that happen. Or
Right.
even KD allowing Irving. These are some of the names that we're kind of circling around. So if I'm Philly, if I want to really make a push, I would try to really just trade for somebody because at the end of the day, you're gonna get a loss. At the end of the
Right.
day, sometimes in life, you're gonna just take your losses. I think you're not gonna get a star for Ben at this point. You'll probably
Right.
get an upcoming young guy and a first, and just keep it pushing. Because holding on to Ben Simmons, you really, as the front office, you're just really hurting the team.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's interesting too, though, because there's also the idea of holding out until the season is over, and not allowing Ben Simmons to sort of suit up and play would
Yeah.
allow them to not have him as a competitor against them this year. And maybe there's so I think they may be doing sort of what or taking a page out of what the NFL management does with some of their players, kind of hold them out, and then maybe because of all of that rust and that time off, they may not look the same when they get back. You know what I mean? They're a year older, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. They may be taking that approach if they don't get sort of their offer. I've heard that sort of thrown in the air. I hope that's not true because I would hate for Ben Simmons not to have an opportunity to play this year, even if it's not with the New York Knicks, because I know we've been in sort of. I think anytime there's a trade in the air or within the NBA, like the Knicks are always associated because that's the way you mark up the price, right? Like you got you can mark up the price with any team. You utilizing the Knicks as a trade option, right? Um, as a destination for folks can potentially go to.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man. So the 76ers, you're thinking they're sort of, in your opinion, are they sort of a real contender, or you think they're going to kind of falter uh, towards the playoff and playoff and out?
Now I see them, of course, being in the playoffs, and I see. I think where they're seated right now. I think they're what. Um,
They're on. I think they were like fourth. I could go back to that real quick.
and
I'll tell you.
uh, who they would be projected to
Oh,
play?
actually, they're sixth right now.
They're six, so it
They're
looks like they're
sixth.
playing against Cleveland
Yeah, if it ended today, yeah,
or Brooklyn.
it would be 3-6. So they would be playing Brooklyn, right?
So they play. So you already know that outcome. They're gonna.
Right.
It's only done. So for
That's how if everything stays the
yeah,
same,
if
right?
everything stays, no injuries,
Right.
no major trades. But at currently, what they need to get further up because you don't want to play Brooklyn in the first round,
Right.
and especially you don't have Ben, and you don't
Right.
plan on playing Ben. So for me, I think
They're gonna have a lot of matchup problems. I do agree when it comes to like the top notch teams like Milwaukee. Even Chicago will give them some trouble. Um, even though Chicago right now is leading, but if they get healthy, they could give a lot of teams trouble in the playoffs. But you can never discount Miami Heat, of course, because they have that playoff. They have that experience.
yeah, and even just kind of with Chicago. I mean, as much as Chicago's look really good in this, regular season, their defense is very inconsistent. I mean, right now
Right.
they're 20th in defense, and it's kind of surprising because they have Caruso and they have Ball. So it's like you would figure they'd be a better
Right.
offensive team, but once again, they have a lack of size, they have a lack of toughness
Right.
and rim protection. So I could see not saying they're losing in the first round. I
Right.
don't see them unless they decide to, drop because right now they're right now 4-4 in their, they 10-game split. But if they kind of just plateau and other teams start to inch,
Hmm.
I could see them maybe getting to the third, maybe dropping down to the third seed, and possibly if say Philly stays at 6, it could be a series,
Right.
you know, and
Yeah.
especially if Philly decides they make a trade for Ben.
Right.
So if the Bulls could improve their defense, then think they will, continue to, as far as down the stretch in the playoffs, they could make a push.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting come playoff time. See how every team how they see in the bracket, and what teams are going to play which teams. You know what I mean? Um, I am going to quickly jump into the Southeast Division because we spoke about Miami briefly. Miami, top notch at 28-16 in the Southeast Division. They're right in front of Charlotte Hornets. Both teams have have won their last game. Um, and yeah, they're Charlotte is 4 games back of Miami.
Mhm.
Um, as we currently see Knicks team, the Knicks have currently seen the Charlotte Hornets up close and personal,
Yeah,
and we
Miami,
didn't fare. Yeah, we
please.
unfortunately we didn't fare very well. But yeah, we're up on a stretch coming up that we're going to see a lot of these teams, a lot of these good teams, and I think Miami's also a part of that schedule that's coming up for us. How do you see that Southeast Division shaping out? Do you see Miami taking that division and Charlotte still like trailing from behind, or
Yeah.
would you see Charlotte sort of making uh, sort of an aggressive push to take that away from them?
Um. Well, I'll start with Charlotte first. I mean, they're a talented team,
Right.
and they score with the best of them. I mean, they're fast paced. They score. But their defense is like I think second to last. So at the end of the day, whether they make it to a play in, well, I think right now they're 7, so they make it to a play in currently right now. So if
Mhm.
they don't make a push, and I think they should make a trade because they have once again kind of like sort of like Chicago, they have no rim protection um, at that position. They got some decent defenders on the perimeter, but if they could kind of maybe package a deal, kind of get a Miles Turner, I think that would kind of help them a lot, and that could really make them a push to be a better defensive team. But I
Mhm.
see them staying the same. I still see Miami being that team. I mean, Miami scares me
Right.
because they're top, I believe, top 5 in defense and top 5 in offense, and they shoot the rock. And that guy, I think Matt Strauss. I mean,
Mhm.
you always find these guys out of nowhere that could just light it up from 3.
They draft well, man.
I mean,
They draft and they sign good free agents.
they find guys from other teams that don't
Mhm.
work, plug them in.
Mhm.
Um,
Great scouting.
Tyler Heroes having a most improved season, averaging 24-4. So it's just like they're a scary team, man. I
Right.
mean, they tough. Even just kind of talk about the Bucks a little bit.
Yeah.
They're the only team. If you think about, it, they have Kyle Lowry that played with that 2019 um,
The
championship team,
Rapture
the
team. Right.
Raptors. So if they see Miami, see like the Bucks, they're not worried because
Right.
even Jimmy was on that team. So it's
Right.
like they're a scary team, man. If I'm any team in the East, even Brooklyn, I would be
Yeah.
scared to play Miami.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you because they have pedigree. They have championship pedigree over there. And they have quality veteranship play. You know what I mean? They got quality veterans. They got
They tough on the
players who
squad
sort of
now.
fit the system. They got a great coaching staff. You know what I mean? So all of those things play a part, as well as their scouting, as you was sort of alluding to earlier. You know, it's going to be interesting as we wind down into the games. I know we ain't quite there yet, but we're sort of in the middle of the season right now, and teams should be starting to find their identity right now, right?
Absolutely.
Starting to figure out who they are. So I'm hopeful for the Knicks, but man, give me your take on our Knicks, man, our beloved Knicks, and let me know what your take on the season is. Is the record who we truly are? Are we what our record says we are?
Absolutely.
Mm,
When you're at that, whatever you are, 24 and 25,
right,
25 and 24, that means you're inconsistent. You lose one, you
right,
win one. You lose 2 in a row, You lose, you win 2 in a row. So we are what our record is at this point. We're very inconsistent. Yeah, we had some injuries. Every team is dealing with COVID protocols. So I think at the end of the day, I think, and this is my take. I think the front office, got some guys that weren't Tibbs guys.
Right.
Kim is not a Tibbs guy. Fournier's not a Tibbs guy. With that, we just got to deal with the hand we dealt with. I mean, a lot of guys are talking about trade this guy, trade that guy, but I don't. I think you stay the course.
Mm-hmm.
You let guys rock out, and then you go into the next season. You see what you want to do. But making a trade, let these guys just improve, and then they rightfully so they have improved throughout the season. Um, but let guys continue to develop. Don't trade any young guys or Obi, whatever, because it's just not working out.
Right. And you don't know necessarily if you do make a trade that it would naturally fit anyway. Like you take a flyer anytime you make a trade of any caliber. You take a flyer and in the belief that this individual you bring in is going to be able to gel. And now you're also talking about only gelling within a half a season. So you have to gel quick. You have to get it. You got to get in, and you got to start, making friends quickly and quickly understanding the system that you're expected to run. And also on the defensive end, you need to know where you need to be on your defensive assignment. So it ain't just cut and dry. It isn't like you're just gonna choose anyone and they're gonna come in and just fit right in. It doesn't really necessarily work like that.
Unless you're getting a marquee, elite player, which we're not.
Right.
That's not going to change the culture. So at the end of the day, we just stay the course, let these guys develop, let them figure it out, and then let's just see what the season takes us. I mean, at the end of the day, if we become a play-in team, then we're a play-in team. If we just miss the playoffs, but I don't really feel like we're gonna miss the playoffs. I think we'll be a play-in team. I really feel we'll be a play-in team, and then just take it from there.
So here's a question. Seeing that we're right now at 11, at 21, I'm at 22 and 23 right now. Right above us is the Boston Celtics, who are in the 2-win, have won the last two. And we're sort of like I want to say a full game away from Boston, but right above that, we're probably a full game and a half away from Toronto. Who's just at 21 and 20, sitting in the 9th position. Like, who do you think is going to, between those three teams, who do you think is going to falter? Or is there a team that we're not speaking of? Maybe it's Washington or Charlotte that may drop out of that position because it's top 10, right?
It's tough. So let's start with Washington. Washington has been playing. They have, overachieved. If you told me Washington was going to be a play-in team and playing the way they're playing, and especially without their second best player, I don't want to kill his name, Rucci, what's his name?
Oh, I don't even know the gentleman's name. That's Ron. That's Ron's specialty. He knows everyone.
But yeah, I can't pronounce his name, but I think I know who you're talking about. The half, Japanese black guy, whatever. Rui Mara. I think that's close, right? But they without the second player, he just came back last week.
Is Rui Hachimura something like that?
Yes.
Okay. Rui Hachimura.
He just came back last week. He missed 39 games, and they still has a winning record. So they could add him to the team and just continue to progress. I mean, that's another team that could slowly creep up. I look at Boston. Boston, there's a lot of holes in that team. As much as they have Tatum and Jalen, right now you hear some rumors of them maybe trading Jalen. They have zero depth on that team. I mean, that is no depth on that team. So, and they really don't have a point guard if you really think about it. I mean, yeah, you have Dennis Schroeder, yes, but to me,
Marcus Smart is sort of still back up.
Yeah, he's a off, he's a combo guard. So you look at that team, they have a lot of holes. And even just maybe a month ago when you had the sound bite from Smart, just kind of telling like when we're not playing team basketball. So that
Right.
team is still up in the air, and they one of the worst road teams as far as the playoff team. So I think they're
Mm.
at 6. So they
Yeah, they're 8-14 on the
yeah.
road.
So if
Yeah.
any playoff playing, not playing team, but playoff team, they have the worst road record.
Right.
So, to
So you
me,
think so do you think between the three of the ones, so between Washington, Toronto, and Boston, the true, you think Toronto will stick?
I mean, Toronto is finally trying to. I think they're slowly picking it up. I
Mm.
mean, they're a well balanced team, but they're not the same team. They play hard, but their
Right.
defense is not the same. I think their defense is like somewhere in the like 22nd or something. So it's not to the standard of what they are capable of nightly consistent, just being that defensive team. I think they're a team that once again they could, if they wanted to take it up a notch, because I think where they're 11th or 10th, they're
Who's
10th.
that? Who's that? Toronto, the seeding?
Toronto.
Toronto seeded at number at 9.
Number 9.
Right.
So, and with their GM, Marcy, with Majuri, he's competitive. He's not. He don't want to lose. For him, even though playing is unacceptable. So I could see him making a trade for like OG, because I feel like they're kind of redundant in that position. I think Gary Trent is a great defender. They got Scotty Barnes, who's a great defender. So they got 3 guys that could defend the ball. So if you could go and get a center that could defend, I know Miles Turner been coming out my mouth a lot, but I think he
Right.
could really help that team. As far as they have no rim protection at all, even though they have for sure, but he's light, he's thin, he's not really protecting the paint. He's more of like a weak side blocker kind of guy.
Right.
So if they could get like a Miles Turner or a Sabonis possibly, I think they could make a push.
Yeah,
Um,
someone to solidify the center position, and that could defend the paint. Are you able to hear me? I'm getting some feedback.
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Um, I'll continue then. So yeah, man. I mean that's a great breakdown. So so you, in your belief, the Knicks still have a shot, and they're between, I would say, Boston and Washington are sort of those two teams that we can sort of overcome at
Those,
some point.
it's still wide open.
Toss up, right?
Um, all those teams I mentioned are literally a trade away from being a consistent playoff team. That
Right.
a lot of teams has the holes. Like Toronto, they have no bench. I think they
Right.
have one of the worst benches in the league. So, but they definitely are. Just reading, some stuff on the internet. They're looking to be aggressive. Trading some guys. I feel
Right.
like once again, if they could go and package OG, because I feel like he's very redundant, because you have Gary Trent and you do have Scotty Barnes. If you could give him to Indiana and then maybe get package some first round picks, I think they got some first round picks, and go get you a Terrence Ross or get you a Eric Gordon.
Hmm.
Now you would have Gary Trent coming off your bench, possibly with Terrence Ross or Eric Gordon. Now you got a bench now,
Right.
rim protection. So once again, I think all as far as the Knicks,
Right.
us, Boston, Toronto,
Toronto, Washington.
yeah, Washington, it's still up for grabs. But I think Washington is more of the team that's projected up just because they got their second best player back.
Gotcha. And so, I mean, we've just currently acquired Cam Reddish. How do you feel Cam will fit in, and will he give us an impact? Would he be impact enough for us to sort of step up our game and where we at in the sort of where we at in the record?
Yeah, it's really simple. Where he's gonna get the minutes?
Right.
I mean, it's simple. It doesn't. It's We all know how Tibbs is, right? You got to earn your keep. You got to earn your minutes, right?
Hmm.
So I feel this piece is a setup for another trade. I don't
Okay.
think they're necessarily done. And
Gotcha.
this front office is not that. I don't think they're incompetent of to just get Cam Reddish and say, "All right, cool, we're done, we're finished." No, there's some other pieces that are about to get moved because if you go get a young guy like that and you just think that you're going to send him on the bench and think that everything is fine and okay,
Right.
you did yourself a disservice getting that guy. So
Right.
I think he's as far as a great talent. I mean, he has Paul George written all over him. Not saying he's gonna be like Paul George.
Right.
A lot of the skills, the smooth play, the versatility, the defense, able to do a myriad of things. It's just whether or not can he piece it all together. But
Right.
whether or not right now the way we construct as a team is where he's going to get his minutes.
Right. So yeah, I mean, you're spot on when you talk about the front office having to make a move that sort of allows for you know the team to sort of open up roster spots or rotation spots for a player like Cam Reddish to, shine. The question is like who I don't want to even pose this question because it's a long drawn out conversation because it's all, sort of hypothetical. But there's gonna have to be some moves, and I agree with you there. And yeah, and as far as Cam, man, Cam came on and said it, man. He appreciates all the the comparisons, but he wants to be Cam. He likes Cam. So I like that he's super confident in himself and his game. I'm looking forward to seeing him put on that uniform and get his first minutes. I really think that if there's anyone who's gonna, if Tibbs is going to make room, it's gonna come on the back of one of our youngsters. Like and I don't think Grimes is going to go anywhere. I think Grimes is going to be here in part of our future. But I think he will. I think Cam will take some of those minutes that he has, just because I think if he sees it if Tibbs is able to see what everyone else is seeing in this young man in practice, develop and show and prove what he can do on the court, I think he's going to force his hand to play him upwards of 20 minutes if he can get so. And I just think it's you can pull those minutes from other players. You can pull a little bit from Burks. You can pull a little bit from Barrett at times. You can pull a little bit from Fournier. You know what I mean? And so you maximize Cam's minutes that way, and allowing him to end games when he's hot, because defensively, he's going to bring it. My biggest thing, and I know everybody speaks of it, is really Cam. The upside is so high that it's just about his health. Can he stay healthy enough to make an impact? And if he can do that and stay on the court, then we got ourselves a nice piece to go alongside RJ Barrett and Randall and the rest of the team.
Yeah, I agree. I think, um, like I said, this is a matter of just Tibbs, and I think a lot of fans has been really upset with Tibbs with his rotations. So let's not get too excited and think, oh, Tibbs is going to take minutes from here and there and that
Right.
from this guy. But I think one guy that might get a short end of the stick will probably be Quickly because I think he's probably been the guy that has been most inconsistent. I think you look at Burt, he's an army switch knife.
Yeah.
At times, Fournier's starting to pick it up. But I think the guy that might get the short end of the stick is probably Quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is like we don't know what we want until we see it in action. You know what I mean? That's part of it. You know what I mean? So we sort of is a lot of what we can go by is sort of our own speculation, our opinion about what we see potentially happening. But once we see it, man, it's gonna be interesting. I know that once he plays his first game in the Garden, it's gonna be electric. Once they call his name, once he's out there, whether he starts or he doesn't start. Once he comes in the game, it's gonna be electric. Everyone's gonna be chanting his name, which is I'm looking forward to. I just want to sort of give our, weekly shout outs to the chat. Much respect to everyone on the chat for joining us today. Appreciate you. I see Ron is on a little bit. I know he was busy, but he's jumping on in the background and he's, jumped in and, so salute to Ron. I'm gonna go down a couple of names real quick, see if I can get everybody. Shout outs to Geraldine McIver. Karen Fung, salute. We got AK Sour God here. Salute, my brother. We have No Way Jose, who's always holding it down on the ones and twos. Um, respect. The New York Knicks, spelled a little different, but shouts to you. Our guy, David L. Thanks for joining. Richie Martinez, thanks for joining. Funky Goose World, thank you for joining. Salute. Who else we got? We got Rapper Stone. Salute, salute. Um, yeah, man. So we here, man. We chopping it up, man. But you know what we like to do here, and Sergeant Robert. Salute, salute. Appreciate you for coming in, Billy Goat. Salute, salute. One thing that we like to do here is, of course, we celebrate and pay homage to our legends here at MBK. So let's go to that. Who is That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That is one Mitch Richmond. And so let me break down a little bit about Mitch Richmond, man. During his 14-year NBA career, which culminated with the 2002 NBA championship. The 1989 NBA Rookie of the Year, was a six-time NBA All-Star, three-time All-NBA second team, and two-time All-NBA third team. A 2014 inductee into the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame. Mitch Richmond began his collegiate career at Moberly Area Community College, and after 2 seasons, he transferred to Kansas State for the 1986-87 and 1987 and 88 seasons. He was an All-American second team selection as a senior in 1988, and his number 23 has been retired at KSU. And he was a member of the famous Run TMC. Mitch Richmond was the player who was known as a great competitor, and it showed while he played in Golden State alongside Tim Hardaway and Hall of Famer Chris Mullin. Richmond dazzled in his rookie year, where he earned Rookie of the Year honors. Richmond was then traded to Sacramento, um, where he became known as the team's first real star since moving to Sacramento. Richmond was scoring machine average over 21 points a game and earning MVP honors at and at the All-Star game in Phoenix in 1995. During his prime, Mitch Richmond was selected to the U.S. Olympic team, also known as Dream Team 3, and won a gold medal and was recognized as one of the best pure shooters in the NBA. So shout outs to Mitch Richmond. G Fresh, man, what do you remember about our guy Mitch Richmond?
That dude was a bucket, man. I mean, it was just listen. I remember as a kid having a Super Nintendo. He was a cover athlete on I think NBA Live '96.
Okay.
So it was just like you to be on a cover, on a video game, you gotta be a problem. You got
Right.
skill. Um,
Definitely.
and I didn't know that this guy averaged, no, not average, but he for 10 seasons straight, he averaged 20 points a
Yeah.
game. So
And he was something serious
and no foul, and I'm glad he was able to get his chip in his last season with the Lakers.
with the Lakers. Yep.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, he didn't have a big role with the Lakers, but true and true, it was deserving. I'm sure he spent a lot of times in the locker room, shaping Kobe into shape, making sure that, he was ready to go on the court. And also, just being an option out there is something, he's a threat anywhere he was, he can shoot it
yeah,
with the best of them.
he could finish mid range, and when guys, your shooting guard wasn't really your best 3-point shooter, but he was
Right.
each year. Besides, I mean, oh no, I think Chris Mullin was more like a midi kind of guy, but
Yeah,
you
definitely was.
Chris was definitely pulled from three. So
Right.
so.
And that young team, man, that Run TMC was something to watch, man. They were one of my favorite teams to watch. Even though I was a Knicks fan, that was sort of a team that I always look forward to seeing on, whenever they came on, national television and were broadcast.
It
Yeah,
was, it was fun to watch them because I got into basketball when I was 5, so
right,
I just remember maybe not that 80s era, but that early 90s era when they
right.
and before Tim went to
Miami,
me,
right,
him, Spreewell,
right.
um, they were definitely a fun team to watch.
Yeah, one of those highlight reels on a regular basis. Definitely on ESPN highlight packages for sure. Yeah, man. So with that said, man, we're gonna move on to the NBA back page, man. And pretty much what I have for us is on our back page, I really want to highlight and talk about this veteran player, and sort of what he done. I wish I was able to pull a highlight, but we weren't able to get one today. But I want to talk about that dunk that it's all over social media. That dunk that, of course, Russell Westbrook, who's playing for the LA Lakers, he put it on Gobert, man, and talked about it, man. He was out there, he was vibrant, and they end up getting the win. So was this a momentum change for them? Was this a shift for this Laker team, in your opinion?
I think it was a shit for Russ. I mean, at the end of the day, this Lakers team still has a lot of holes, but maybe this could get Russ going.
Right,
But I feel like Gobert is always he's always getting a poster on.
right,
But at the end of the day, the Lakers still got a lot of holes, a lot of things to fix. I mean, right now they've been pretty much in the headlines with maybe they should get rid of Vogel. So
hmm
you know, it's not gonna really change him gaming on somebody. Russ is great. Gonna do that time to time.
right. So who is that? So who in your mind is that surprise team in the West?
Hmm, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to go with Memphis.
Memphis.
I mean, I know that's a popular pick to go,
Listen,
but I mean, Memphis is. I mean, if you tell me Memphis going 11 straight, and when
right?
you look at this team, right? I mean, even Jaren Jackson Jr. He's from my hometown, playing from New Jersey. I don't think he
Nice.
plays it like that, but even he's supposed to be their second best player, but he's only averaging like 16 a game. You got Dylan Brooks, and then what's the other Bane? They averaging like at least 18, 19 a game. So um, I mean, this team is playing. They athletic. I mean, they're super athletic. They're
Right.
aggressive. So the key part, I think, can they make a playoff push? I mean, that's the can they make a playoff push when it counts?
Right, and they're young, so they're gonna, if they can stay consistent and stay together, they'll have plenty of opportunities to continue, sort of running into that, having chances at it, I should say. They'll have plenty of opportunity in the future if they could stay connected and stay together. They do have something special, and in my opinion, they sort of um,
Yeah, absolutely.
they're sort of playing off of Ja Morant and his intensity, right? I
Yeah,
think his intensity as a player has sort of, you know, uh, rubbed off on all the rest of his teammates and sort of their mere image of who he is on the court. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's great to see, man. It's great to see, especially when you got a kid that talented, and that explosive. He reminds me a lot of a young, Derrick Rose. Just
yeah.
like just bunnies. You know what I mean? And extremely fast. Yeah, man. Well, this was fun, man. I really appreciate you coming on with us, man. This was a good time.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, so share with everyone what you got going on and how people can find you.
Well, I go by G Fresh, but you can follow me on Instagram, GPHRESHTV, on Instagram. Pretty much, man. I have some sneakers and restore sneakers. So holla at me if you need any of your Jordan 11s, Icy Soul, slow separations, re-dyes on your black suede kicks, anything, man. I do it all.
Nice.
Yeah, customs. I do birthday parties for kids. So, like, say for instance, I teach your kid how to with their friends how to custom sneakers, all that stuff. So that's what I do, man.
That's what's up, man. That's a great wave, man, to have, man, to be a part of, man. That's dope. Well, yeah, man. Well, that's it for us today, man. That's our show for today. Thank you all for watching the NBK NBA report, and for watching the NBK network. For more Knicks programming, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Do that.
And definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we drop new content. Also tune in to Ron and Jon at Still Knicks Fans podcast. We come on every week, every Monday. We try to come on at 9 p.m. Sometimes we may go a little later depending on the day. But yeah, man, tune in, man. Check us out, man. Keep subscribing. If you tell a friend to tell a friend who tells another friend, like my guy Ron likes to tell. Definitely we'll get those subscriber numbers up. Appreciate you all for joining us, and man, God bless. Have a safe one.
God bless.
Make a